could tell because I needed it. I wanted to recap what we have tapped into naturally, because that's how we interacted with nature. Like it was an in-person connection, in place things. And when that's why we didn't have measurement or things. You know what I mean? That allowed you to really retain things because it was an experiential thing. And our proof was that we are still here. We are living. We are thriving.
No, my specialty is in plant science, more from the agricultural slant. Actually, it's genetics, plant genetics. So, when my wife told me about the situation with the patients and treat them with these prescription medication, and they just go into the grave, I said there's got to be a better way. So I went back to my former knowledge that a lot of medicine derived from plants. So I started asking them, you tell me the medicine and I'll go look for the plant if it came from a plant. And that's how it all started. So after a while, from many years of working with it, I started developing my own mental algorithm. Now, medicinal plants don't frequently grow in the forest, contrary to what people are saying. It grows along a path, either on soil that has been disturbed, or there's a clear path, a road, a track, or something. Maybe it's more light there. I don't know about the disturbed soil, but in my mind, wherever there's this track or disturbed soil, there are humans. And God provides where there are humans. In Guyana, I was walking with this Amerindians through the savannah, through the savannah. And we became good friends because we've been going back there since 1998. Mm-hmm. He said to me, Doc, do you notice anything? I said, no. He said, look. It was a long distance we were traveling on foot. And when we came to the end of our destination, he said, you notice the villages where the people abandoned because they lived for a while and they moved. Notice the coconut tree and the mango tree died. So I didn't notice that. So in a way back, pay attention. So wherever the village was alive, the mango tree was thriving and the coconut tree. Where the people abandoned, the coconut tree died and the mango tree died. Something spiritual there. And so with the plants, I noticed that if the plants had a lot of thorns, that was good for some nerve problem. If they had a lot of thorns with secondary thorns, then they were even more potent for nerve situation.
The brain.
And if they're very rare, it's probably tumor. And the reason for the thorns, again, spiritual, is that God gave it a protective value so that animals wouldn't chew it up and destroy it. Mm. So that desire to populate itself. If a plant is very widespread, it's probably just good for maintenance. It has no particular extreme value. And so if a plant is red or has any kind of a red in it, it relates to the blood. And it follows through 99% of the time. Mm-hmm. And so we will find a plant, and I say to her, this is good for such and such, but we don't use it for that until we do research. Our stuff is research-based because the world has been combing through these plants over the years, looking for medicinal value. When they find it, you can't patent a plant, but you can patent a compound by just making a kind of analog out of it, change to one of the functional groups on the compound, and then you own it. And so we go and we select those plants and we grow them. Now and this is intellectual things we're revealing now. Mm-hmm. It's okay. When you give away the secrets to benefit others, God blesses you with more. That's something we learn. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah. So go ahead. Oh, you want more? I have more for you.
Oh no, whatever you feel comfortable. More.
Mm-hmm. So the secret to our success in herbal medicine Like, we didn't lose anybody to COVID. We treated thousands, we didn't lose one. The secret to it is freeze dry. I'm going to show you in the morning. We have a freeze dry machine. It takes the herb, it takes it down to 40 degrees below zero. And then a vacuum will sublime the water out of it. So it go from frozen to dry without going to the liquid stage. Now that powder that remains is very potent. Almost acts like prescription drug. So tomorrow we'll show you the entire process. In the middle of the poorest county in Alabama, God has given us the vision to make this stuff. Now, if we want to be millionaires, we can, but if we do, then we'll be on the crosshairs of the pharmaceutical. So we realize that what we have is for the people in this region, and we keep it that way.
Wow, that's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yes.
Plants.
So, one of the things that God showed us with plants that is so different than conventional medication is they have an intelligence of their very own. So, for example, when you take like metformin, it's good in lowering your sugar, but the reason it has side effects such as diarrhea, or it can not be so good for people who have elevated kidney function, creatinine, because it doesn't have the ability to determine, I only need to lower your sugar, I need to leave everything else alone. But with plants, things that are too high, they'll bring it back down to normal. Things that are too low, they'll bring it up to normal. And then things that are just right, they'll leave it alone. And we've seen that as we use them for different patients and doing different blood work, we see how amazing the results are, that they kind of put everything back where it's supposed to be. And so, yeah.
That's wonderful. Love the way you talk.
Yeah, that's okay. I love the chase. It smells so good. It has beautiful purple flowers, and it's for ladies, and it's so elegant. And it helps with menopause and menorrhagia and infertility. And so I love the chased tree. I love aloe vera too. The ones that have the little thorns on the side are the most potent, but aloe vera is great. We don't use triple antibiotic ointment in our house or anything like that. We just use the gel from aloe vera, and it has antibacterial properties, antifungal properties, and just a cooling sensation. A lot of my patients that suffer from acid reflux, I tell them they can get the aloe vera juice in the pharmacy section at Walmart, get a gallon for $6, and just drink 4 to 6 ounces 2-3 times a day. And they're like, yeah, they throw that omeprazole out the window, you know? And so it's very soothing and calm. One of my most favorite plants is called yarrow. I love yarrow. So, we grew yarrow, and that also helps with heavy menstruation. But I had seen where if you cut yourself and you start bleeding, you just take a piece and chew it and put it on the cut, and it stops the bleeding. So me, sometimes I can be a little pessimistic, and I'm like, I'll believe it when I see it. And so I remember I was outside working in the farm, and I cut my thumb, and I was like, oh man. And so then it hit me, go get some yarrow. And it was a pretty bad cut. So I went and I got the yarrow. I chewed it up, and I put it on my thumb and just held it there for like a couple minutes. And then I was so amazed. When I took that poultice off, it was clean. You couldn't even tell that it just had the clean skin flapped over it. Stopped bleeding. It was good to go. So I tell everybody, your first aid kit at your home, always have yarrow. Yarrow and aloe vera. Especially if you have kids. Yarrow, aloe vera, you're good to go.
What were you saying about?
Okay, so I work at Hill Hospital Physicians Clinic, which is tied to a rural hospital, and it's a rural health clinic. which means that it accepts everyone, whether they have insurance or not. And these rural healthcare clinics are very important in the Black Belt area. Reason being is you have a lot of our indigent people who don't have health insurance. And so we're able to provide health care for them, emergency services. Unfortunately, if you are aware, a lot of the rural healthcare clinics have been closing down, which means that people have to go 1-2 hours to a doctor or to a hospital, and that's not realistic. They don't have transportation. Even the patients that I see, a lot of them have to pay to get a ride to see me or even a specialist. So a lot of the doctors in the rural healthcare clinics, we are kind of specialists too, because we know our patients can't get to Mississippi or to Tuscaloosa to see a specialist. So the clinic that I work at, it's almost closed down many times. I've gone to the bank with my check, and the person at the bank will say, "Dr. Paul, I'm sorry, but they don't have enough money to cash your check. Can you come back Monday?" I'm like, "Sure." and then in the past, I've had to bring my own exam table paper, my own gloves. Right now, the administrator of the hospital is a God-fearing lady. She will walk around and she will pray in the hospital. She has kept it open. It should have been shut down a long time ago. But I'm so thankful that it's not, because we're able to help so many people. So the reason why rural hospitals are shutting down is because Alabama did not approve Medicaid expansion like a lot of the other states did. So there's that gap, that in between, where you have people who work, but they don't make enough money to have insurance, and they make too much money to qualify for Medicaid, and so they're lost. They have no insurance, and those are the people that are suffering, and that's a quite a large amount. And so the reason I had started telling the story is because Miss Wilson, she always gives this testimony. She's the administrator of Hill Hospital, and I know it's HIPAA, but she allows me to tell it, and she also has given this testimony. She came to me and she's like, "I'm not feeling well, Dr. Paul," and I did blood work. I said, "Miss Wilson, you have diabetes." "Oh no, I do not want to claim that." I said, "Well, if you don't want to claim it, you need to do something about it. You just can't say I don't claim it." She's like, "Whatever you want me to do, Dr. Paul, I will do." So we put her on the DP3 herbs. We talked to her about plant-based diet, exercising, water, sunshine, all of these things. And I will tell you, she was a super compliant patient. Within 3 months, her A1C went from 8.4 to 5.2. She was no longer diabetic. I did not have to put her on any medication. So she spoke to my husband and myself, and she said, "You know what? We suffer for a lack of knowledge." She said, "There are so many people in the Black Belt that have diabetes, and they don't think it's reversible. And even if they did know it's reversible, they don't know how to do it. Can you guys work with me on helping people to know about this?" And of course, we were like, yeah. So she got 17 counties involved. So Choctaw, in the Blast South, Escambia, Conecuh, Butler, Sumter, hell, I mean, I can't even name them all. And we have about 20 participants from each county. So what NAPS does is every month, twice a month, we do a health fair in each county. And we have what's called the New Start, which are the 8 laws of health: nutrition, exercise, water, sunshine, temperance, air, rest, trust in God. And we go through all the different things. We calculate their health age. So if you're 60 and you're not eating or living right, your health age may be 80. And then we do an assessment and say, "This is what you need to do to be 50. And they get so excited. So they go through each station to see what in that station they need to do to lower their health age. And then my husband and I, we do lectures. So we go in person to each county, and then all the other counties will Zoom in. All the other counties will Zoom in to that lecture, and we'll do lectures for them. And we try to make it as simple as possible. We actually post the lectures on our radio station, which I'll let you hear. And we make it as simple as possible. And at the end, we have a question and answer session. And they are so grateful. And a lot of times people say, "Oh, well, the Black Belt area, their statistics are high because they're non-compliant." No. These are some of the most compliant people. We just went to...
It's not a message, it's a messenger.
It is the messenger more than the message. That's true. So we are, yeah.
Non-compliant.
Yes. So we just went to a convention in Tuscaloosa. Miss Wilson had it where all the participants were there. And it was the most beautiful thing. People got up and they were like, listen, I started the whole New Start paradigm. I lost 100 pounds. I was on 4 insulin shots and I was taking this medication. No, I'm no longer a diabetic. My doctor wants to patent my blood. He wants to know, how did this happen? And then he was a pastor. He took off his jacket. He's like, look, y'all, look, I don't have a stomach. And he was showing, everybody was clapping. And then another gentleman did the same thing. He said, I used to drink Coca-Cola all the time. Now all I do is drink water. I only eat 2 meals a day. I exercise. And look, you guys, I've lost all this pound. I'm on no medication. And so what better way to encourage them if they themselves give the testimonies? We can give them the lecture, but when they speak out and say, it worked for me, then that motivates everybody else.
Yeah, and I spoke too much in that meeting.
He did. He almost got us kicked out. So I'm going to tell you what happened. So anyway, we are like, you guys try to stay away from unclean meats. Well, we have good, better, best. Best is plant-based. Good is clean meats maybe once a week. And good, better, best. Best is plant-based. Better is clean meats maybe once a week. Good is clean meats, period, if you eat it more than once a week. So we've talked to them about processed meats and pork and catfish, how those are bottom feeders. They clean up trash, and God created them for a purpose, but we don't want to put that in our bodies. And so he's like, okay, guys, well, we're done with our presentation, and I'm checking to, this is my husband speaking. He's like, I see where the back door is, and my car is running, so if I have to run out, I'm okay. He says, but I just want you guys to know that catfish has omega-6, and that is one of the leading causes of breast cancer is catfish. And because that's big down here, breast cancer. And so then Miss Wilson, who put on the convention, she was like, oh no, because right after we were done speaking, it was going to be lunch. And then she's like, Dr. Paul, say it again. And he says, catfish can cause breast cancer. She says, say it one more time.
I saw the folks looking strange now.
Yeah, the countenance were not towards my husband. So he passed me the mic. He said, I'm going to have my wife say it this time. I said, okay. So I said it. So we didn't know that they were serving catfish for lunch.
Oh, wow.
So the MC, he got up. He said, oh, boy, Miss Wilson, you trying to kill us. We got catfish for lunch. But that's okay, y'all. Just eat a little bit. Don't go on and get 2 and 3 pieces now. Just a little bit. I think they're saying if you eat it all the time, it's going to kill you. But just a little bit today is okay. But don't be greedy now. And so my husband's like, oh, no, because he didn't know they were serving it. But Miss Wilson just laughed. She's like, yes, it's okay. Don't worry about it. And so anyway, those are the 18 counties that we work in. And we're doing it again this year. And the people are so receptive. We have so many testimonies of people who have been able to reverse their diabetes. And of course, with the lifestyle changes that we recommend, not only is their diabetes being reversed, their blood pressure, when they lose weight, their joint pain gets better, they think clearer. This is our food bank, and we do this once a month for Hale County, and the cars are just lined up. We start at 10, they get there at 4. How many thousands of pounds of food?
12,000 a month.
12,000 a month, and so this is what NAPS does, and they, the Alabama Food Bank, they actually send people to our food bank for training because of the organization, and now they asked us, can we please expand to Greene County too?
No, they did a survey and found out that the people, the recipients, were well pleased and happy. And they think it's our system. But our kids go out and hug the folks.
Yes. They know their names. They know the names of their dog, their cat. They know their kids.
So nothing can copy. You kind of replicate that. You know?
Right. And because they work with the kids in the community, it's like they know the families. And so we'll be doing 2 counties. But this is great because this allows us to get the information out more to the people. This is this is just a group from Texas. They brought their kids to do mission work. So we do offer experiences for churches. If they want to bring their young people to do some type of mission project in the Black Belt area, we'll sponsor them we'll host them. And they just we'll tell them what the project is, and then they come, they raise the money, and then they also handed out backpacks for kids in the community that lived off this dirt road. A lot of communities, they live off dirt roads, and they were building a ramp for this lady who was bedridden, and she needed a ramp to be able to get in and out when she was transported. And so that was a wonderful experience.
That's beautiful.
We love young people, so anytime churches or organizations want to bring young people for training, outreach, that's great. These are 3 kids we worked with in the community, and they wanted to give their lives to Christ, so they asked to get baptized. So they were baptized, and now they're like junior naps, and they go out and they recruit other young people to come to our programs. So that's kind of the overview.
The reason why I'm so nice to you is that where we are here is a dull room. Nobody comes to cover your story here.
Oh, really?
So, we are traveling the world doing a lot of work, and being Black, we have been, I'll show you a video in a minute. We've been to tsunami, and we've been to 911, we've been to Katrina and all those major disasters, on time. And we'll see the media coming, and somebody tell them about it, and they come look at us.
Because we're Black,
Really?
yeah.
Not surprised.
But the Lord blessed us to have enough coverage to keep us alive.
I saw one article, and I shared it with my family in Alabama, and then I shared the store because I thought they would really love it. And I just think it's so special what you guys are doing. And I wanted, if you could repeat a little bit what you were saying in the greenhouse, just when you were talking about the different 2 plants that you were using and how you discovered them in Guyana, or whatever you feel comfortable about any of like the plants that you discovered that has been helping your community.
So my husband and I, we went on a mission trip to Guyana, and we go deep in the jungle, the Rupununi, and he was speaking to this gentleman who was part of the Amerindian village, and he said, what plant is that? He goes, oh, this plant is for sugar. And he's meaning diabetes. And he said, yes, when you make a tea out of it, it turns into blood. And so my husband's like, oh, brother, what do we have here? But anyway, he took a clipping, and my husband has a green thumb, literally. So he propagated it, and so we have plenty of it. It's called Costus igneus. And so we were cutting, trimming, and we had a bucket that we had washed the plants in. And so we threw the remnants in the bucket and went out, came back. And when we came back, the water was blood red. And so we realized that the plant itself has a pigment in it that is red, even though you can't notice it from the outside. So it's called Costus igneus. And if people were to Google on the internet, if they Googled insulin plant, that's the nickname it has because it's so powerful in helping with diabetes, and it's been a blessing here. So one thing I forgot to tell you, with our herbs in the Black Belt, we do not charge anyone in the Black Belt. So those who buy online from other states, that's what keeps the ministry going, because we understand that we're working with people who can't afford it, but they really want to try to make a change in their life. So the only criteria we have for them is they have to be present at our lectures. And a lot of times we have monthly meetings at our house where we go over health lectures, cooking classes, and then when they come, they can get their monthly refill of DP3 with like a consultation, and that works great. So that way it's like, that's how they're held accountable, and we know they're serious because it is hard work preparing it. It's my husband, myself, mostly my husband, and we don't import any herbs from anywhere else. Everything is grown here on the farm. It's processed here, and then we capsulate it, and then we package it. And so when we know that they come to the monthly meetings or to the health lectures, then we know they're serious. So we don't mind giving it to them for free. And God has sustained us thus far. we're not rich, but we're not poor. So, yes, we can come to the table to.
That's wonderful.
This is your.
It's artificial.
Right.
You know, everything is artificial. And I'm like, but we're not even in that time where there is no natural thing around and now you're just stuck with artificial. Like, it's still here. But when you look around, they'll have you thinking like we've reached that era already. And no, we have not. And it means that there's something that we can do so that we don't reach the era where when you look around, there is no plants, there is nothing. And I don't want that for us. And the only way to stop that is for people to get back in with nature and just starting to do their own natural thing. Whatever comes to you, it's what it's supposed to be. Like, even when I do my classes and I take people, and I always tell them, it's like, I want you to build your own relationship with nature. I can't tell you what you can or cannot do. That's between you and nature. What are you feeling? What are you sensing? What is your understanding? All of that is of your own thing. I don't know what's in your lineage. I don't know what's in your family tree. Only you will feel that, and only that will come through that. And I want to be able to see that because a lot of things that we are missing is dormant in a lot of us. And we need to unlock those things so that we can all kind of be able to to enjoy each other's gift, you know, that is just laying dormant because we haven't access to, don't even know it's there. Like, I had no intention to be in the plant world. Like, that was not my goal. That was not what I even thought that I would be doing. So far from it. So far from it. Wow. I always laugh how I ended up here because that was not my trajectory. But this is a place where I feel the most comfortable, where I feel at home when I'm like, I know this is what it is for me, you know? And sometimes you find that out by just allowing yourself to be in certain places and letting whatever's coming through you out and be curious enough to see it through and then be like, oh, okay, what is that for you? You just never know. So I love seeing people that come. Some people, they don't even come. It's not about medicine or anything like that. They're into arts. So I just be like, hey, come. Because even in nature, colors, structure, there's so many beautiful artsy things that are just naturally carved out in nature that can give you inspiration and all of these things. You're sick, go out in nature. It's going to help you. Depression, like a lot of our answer is like literally just go out in nature. We have this beautiful river, the Bronx River, and that is New York City only freshwater river. Only, right? And if you know anything about freshwater river, those are natural resources. Natural resources are gold, are gem. That's where population built their community around rivers. You know what I mean? That's how it works. But we are so far gone that our river, our only freshwater river, is polluted. If something were to happen, right, like something really catastrophic for whatever reason, we wouldn't have been able to have access to the one thing nature has given us. We should be able to go to a river and fetch water to drink, but swim in it, fish in it, all of that. We can't do that because it's polluted by what? Sewage. There's all kinds of poop. How do we poop in our own fresh water? Like, right. It makes no sense. And it's good that now we're in a time where there are agencies like the Bronxville Alliance who's working in cleaning it enough so that we can be able to swim in it, be able to fish in it and all of these things. But people don't even know this thing. People only think of natural resources when it comes to third world country. If you live in a third world country, you know, there's a whole bunch of disasters. Your natural waters, your natural resources was going to keep you alive. And I tell them, I was like, we ain't too far from them. We're really not. That's why we have to make sure our natural resources are top-notch, because in case some messed up stuff happen, you'd be like, that's okay, I'm good. I can go over here and get some plants over here. I can go down to Brooklyn and give me some chokeberries, go down to Queens here, go to the Bronx River, fetch them. Like, there's all these things we should be able to do, and we can't, because we are literally polluting our own gift, our own thing, unknowingly, again, because when you speak to authorities, they will have you thinking like they're doing things for you, for your betterment, and you just don't know and you just don't understand these things. So you just kind of stay out of it and just be like, well, I got faucet water and I got this and I got that. That's not enough. It's man-made. It's man-controlled. You got to pay for that.
God, no, thank you so much. I have some land. I was always so worried about being homeless. And so when I sold my first piece of art, that was the first thing I bought was land. And even though it's been struggling to pay them taxes, it's not even in New York City, it's, in the South.
Okay.
But I am planning, there's a bigger plan where I want to do spaces, because I do a lot of earth and building. And I plan on building structures for people like you, to come and just do whatever you want, to play, to rest, or to bring a community there to, facilitate, and it would be just offered for you for free, just because of the work and the research you have done and just providing other alternative space. That's my goal,
Yeah.
I love to create space in collaboration with the land, and then collaborate with other people. The photography and the are mostly, they're art, but it's like a way for me to really promote another message, but most of the time I collect soil from different parts of the world and that speak to me. And I didn't even know why. I was just, it was like, what's wrong with you? I was like, I'm in Haiti. I got to get this soil. This is what freed us. I need this. And they like,
doesn't it feel good though? Like, is this...
The people were like, they was confiscating it at the airport. It was like, you can't do that. I was like, damn it. They caught me, and I got other people, I call them the soil smugglers, So no, that, so I definitely know, I'm so happy to be introduced to you and your brilliance. And,
Thank you, me too.
And you're clearly being, communicated with through your ancestors. You can hear them, and you spoke so much wisdom. And I was like, oh my God, I can't take enough note. It's a coincidence because I've been doing all this research in the Congo, and I wanted to go to there so badly because there is a place where they say don't go, and that's usually where I want to go. And then all the resources, the whole world, information age is being held up on those minerals and gutting that. Just it makes gutting it, but there's a shift, it seems like, I don't know, that's happening in the continent where
there is a shift. There's a shift that's happening. I've been waiting for this shift for so long. I just love that the borders have been open, that the brothers and sisters in here started to travel and really see the world for themselves and understand, like, hey, what they've been saying, it's not what is really happening. And because I've always felt like they don't want us together. They don't want us together because our freedom really comes from us coming together. Because we have never come together for the same common thing, fighting and pushing for the same thing. That's something we haven't done. But just seeing our interaction, even when they are beefing, I'm always like, oh my God, please no. But it's part of the course too. It's part of the journey. And I just love it. I really love it. And I think that's what's going to bring the change. Because as they say, revolution belongs to the new generation. The new generation comes with different types of mindset and ideas and things of that nature. And we get to kind of like give them support, provide them with tools, guidance, lay some flooring and all of these things. But even back home, here in America, in the West, we understand that we all want to go back natural in as many ways as we can. But back home, they are trying to go as far away as from that as they can, because over there, it's that savagery thing. It's like, oh, that's nasty. The bush this, that's what is being said. And when they're looking outside, they want what we have. And now they're learning from us, like, hey, you don't want what we have. We're trying to have what you have. You have land. Like, keep the land. Stop letting them buy the land, because our land over here, they are destroying it. And they're trying to do over there. So getting that information and getting them to understand, like, don't drop your thing. Please don't drop your thing for what we have. Look at us. That's not it. We all running away from it. So that's been really beautiful to see and experience. I want to continue seeing that progress and us coming together from all parts.
Dang, that's beautiful.
Cold. And I had to learn, well, what is cold? Because cold has medicine too, So I had to understand what it is cold to be able to appreciate it and understand its medicine, so that I can work along with it, because I'm naturally cold too. Okay, what do I need during this season to make myself comfortable where I can? And for me, because I'm a cold person, I need to move, because that's how you keep yourself warm, through movement. And also what awakens the body is also, there's that cold therapy. So I've been testing out different cold therapy just to get myself, just to embrace it and understand it. I've gotten to a point where I understand the cold and I'm okay with it, and I don't hate it. I look forward to the winter time, because it brings me to the space where I get to challenge myself in meeting with cold and having an understanding of it and employing it to help me heal. I do cold therapy, the cold plunges, all those different things. And then I will see, I'm like, the first time I'm freezing, and then I'm like, okay, in this thing, I need to relax. The reason why I'm shivering is because the body's trying to warm itself. Like, I'm walking myself through it. And then eventually I start to see that my body will start to yearn for that coldness, because after the coldness, I feel refreshed. I feel up. I used to love taking hot showers, because as a cold person, I lived in hot showers. But then I do also remember, every time I take those extremely hot showers, when I come out, like, it takes a lot of energy out of me. Like, it's actually stealing energy. When I come out the cold, I'm like, ooh. So it really helped me to now be like, wait a minute, to relook at even the heat. And naturally out, we will be dealing with the cold. Like, the showers or the waters that we'll be washing ourselves from won't be warm. It will have been cold. So I get it. I totally get it.
No, we're in the same page. I know I was even told that I need to do like a cold shower before my hot, and I'm trying, it is, in the spa I could do it.
Before, after. Because if you're first starting, that shock in your system. So for me, it was easier to do my cold shower and maybe the last 2 seconds, because you don't need it long. The last 2 seconds, do a little cold, right before you get out of the shower, and then each time you challenge yourself, just like, okay, I did 2 seconds, let me just do 3 seconds. And you want to let the cold hit the back of your neck, because that's where your vagus nerve.
Okay.
And yes, the cold hitting the vagus nerve it needs that. It really likes that. So that's where you want it to kind of hit just for a couple of seconds, and then you kind of just work your way and just increasing it little by little. Because when you're hot, right, especially if you do like really hot shower, you're hot, you're sweating a little bit, and a little cold thing will kind of feel like, right, it's better. It's easier.
Okay.
That's how I started.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna do it, especially with the vagus nerve. I'm gonna definitely try that.
Yep, couple of seconds, not too long. Work your way up, and then eventually you'll be like, oh, this is not bad.
That's funny.
could tell because I needed it. I wanted to recap what we have tapped into naturally, because that's how we interacted with nature. Like it was an in-person connection, in place things. And that's why we didn't have measurement or things. You know what I mean? That allowed you to really retain things because it was an experiential thing. And our proof was like, we are still here. We are living. We are thriving. Ever since we stopped dealing in that way, the way that we used to, because we were forced out of it, we've lost a lot of lives. Black women die in giving birth. When we used to birth our own, we didn't have as many deaths. We just simply did not. So I did take some courses in other places, but only after I've had my own knowledge, because if I'm going to come into the space, I'm coming to space to learn, but I'm not coming to space as a blank canvas for you to put something on. So I have a lot of discourse, because when I go to nature, I see one thing. But when I go to, let's just say, botany class or a scientific expert's research from botanical gardens explaining invasive species and all this thing, certain things don't make sense to me, because it's like you're telling me this plant is an invasive species and this plant is bad and we need to protect the native species. But when I go out and I'm looking at nature and how things are showing, and things have always changed, nature is not having that conversation with those plants. We brought those plants here. And when you look at the people that are in this land, their plants are here. The mugwort that I'm talking about, that's an Asian plant. It's originated from Asia, but it's here because it was brought here by human. The English ivy. Listen, white folks love the English ivy. They brought that here, and it has taken over everything. But that is one plant that they don't go full force to villainize. But from every other country, they do it. And I'm like, but this plant is good for this plant is good for that. How can we use this? I've been giving them pushback because what's happening and what's in the classroom, it doesn't make sense. Like, you'll meet a botanist. A botanist is someone that is a plant expert. How are you a botanist, but then you don't know the medicinal property of this plant? How? Like, if you're a botanist and you know plant, then you should know, like, hey, this plant has all this healing stuff. Or if you're an herbalist, you know the healing ability of the herbs, but you don't know the plant other side. You don't know what the botanists know. But you also claim to love this plant and to know this plant, but you can't recognize them out in the wild. You have no idea what their living environment is like. How can you protect and help or give back to nature when you don't even access your thing from nature? So it's like, it allows me to have those conversations, and it allows me to also get them to open their mind and learn, because when I meet with our own people that have taken those different courses, and they're like, and they see me foraging and harvesting, and they're like, oh my God, what about, pesticides? What about this? What about that? And I'll tell them, like, what about it? Honestly, what about it? Because this tree that is right here, and you're telling me the exhaust of the train, the exhaust of the car, this is New York City. New York City air is polluted, and we live here and we inhale that all the time. We're inhaling it too. It's in me too. So if the car fumes are bad for the plants, then why are they around people? So it's like certain things, I'm like, it doesn't make sense. We have GMOs, we have all kinds of pesticides in our food already, and we still use them, and we still eat off of it. But I should be afraid of this plant because New York air? Because of the rain? I'm like, you go out in the rain, it touches your skin. You never hear anything. You don't hear people dying because they pick up a fruit off a tree and ate it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I started to break that down to them. Like, who gave you this idea to be afraid of nature? We are literally afraid of nature. I said, that's something that was put into our mind. Nature provides us literally everything we have, even this cell phone. It uses mineral from nature in order for us to have it.
From your country.
Exactly. So I'm always like, what are you talking about? You killing the dandelion in your backyard, but you go into the herb store and buy dandelion root tea. Well, then right there, nature is like, hey, here. And for me, it's that when it comes from nature, there's no ill intention. Nature is very straightforward because nature takes care of all living species of this planet without discrimination. And nature knows exactly what our body needs. You know, we're still learning the body. It's only been 10 years that we found out that we have that the gut in our bacteria, we shouldn't be killing them, like we can't live without them. That's only like 10, 15 years ago. But nature knows that. You know, so it's like for me, as long as I stay close to nature, I get the truth. When I stay close to man, I get a whole bunch of lies because there's so many different intentions. You know, you want to meet, just like what are those things that people kill all the time? The lanternfly. The lanternfly are a problem. I agree they're a problem, but for me, they are part of nature. And I don't like to be giving an order to kill. I'm not a soldier. Right. Don't tell me to go kill a species when you haven't even admitted and saying, why is that species here? It's here because its food is here. So wherever it was, we killed everything. We cut all of their livestock. We caught everything. So they come wherever their stuff is at. So how can I be mad at another species for just trying to survive because of mistakes that we've made? And then on top of that, every time we kill a lanternfly, it does nothing. In the big scheme of things, the amount of them that are out there, absolutely nothing. So they use people in all of those different ways against our better thing. And it's like, we don't want to, one, be accountable for the mistake we have done in the way that the environment is. Two, we don't want change. And in nature, things changes all the time. If you stop something from happening, there's going to be a consequence. And we try to avoid our consequences all the time. The reason why we don't have as many natives in this land in terms of plant is because a lot of outside plant was brought in and it kind of took over. That's the truth. That's the reality. When are we just going to embrace that and be okay with that instead of spending years trying to figure out chemical whatever to kill off plants that nature has accepted? Nature's not trying to get rid of those plants. Nature has accepted those plants in this space. And then those plants have been seeing their homeland in forever. You know? Wow. So it's like they're trying to get us in this mentality of like killing things without truly understanding the bigger picture that we are not the center of everything. We are part of the ecosystem, and we have to look out for other species because what they do help us too. It's a reciprocity type of situation. It's not one reigning over everything else and killing everything. So if we don't have certain things, it was our fault. And then it's kind of like, well, adapt, right? Because that's one thing of nature. It's either fight or flight, or you adapt to the new normal. What is wrong with adapting to the new normal and see what those plants can actually bring us if we were to, being allowed to use them and see them for what they are? They are just plants. We the one that give them the label, oh, that's an invasive, that's a native, that's a cultivar, that's an ornamental. What is an ornamental plant, really? Like you can buy an apple tree and then it'll be an ornamental apple tree, but it's still just an apple tree. What it means, you can't eat off of it? You know, like there's all of these labels that makes it harder for us to understand plants. And the only plants that they want us to buy is the cultivated plants, because cultivated plants are patented. They're the only plants that they can make money off of. They can't make money off of the wild plants. They can't make money off of plants out of nature because it belongs to the people. They are not cultivated. Cultivated is them going into the lab and changing something, and then once it's patented, they put it out in a thing, and then they want you to buy it. But the only way they know that people are going to buy it is if they tell people, don't trust nature's plant because you can get hurt. It hasn't been tested. What do you mean it hasn't been tested? Humans have been using those plants. Us being here is the medicines that we use are made off of those wild plants. They go into so many other parts of the world to collect wild plants. Meanwhile, they only want you to buy the cultivar, which has been changed and have lost their true essence. Like a wild blueberry has so much more nutrients than your best organic blueberry that you'll spend so much money on, and you can't even have it every week because it's too expensive. Meanwhile, nature is like, hey, come with the bears. You know, you're in the bears that it's here. Like, come and get some. And it's free. And I just feel like if we get back to that, it will help us to connect with the land better. It will actually be therapeutic for us as Black people to heal, because in my journey, I've learned that the reason why we stay away from the wild, right, or anything nature, like we stay with plants, but only to bind them. But we didn't go back into the wild. We were just like, because of our trauma, right? We blame, some of us, a lot of us have blamed the land for what happened to our ancestors, you know, working out in the field, because we were out in the field and the way that we were treated, you being in the farm or you being on it, it's like, nah, I don't do that. Like, nah. And then I'm like, but you do know that that's what saved us. Nature, the land is what looked out for us. The land has never caused us harm. It actually helped us. Harriet Tubman was able to do what she did through the land. It's the land that guided her. She found plants along the way to help those who were wounded. Like, it fed us. When they weren't giving us what we needed, we went to the land to get all these things. So I want people to kind of remember that. So it's like, your anger is misplaced because you don't want to be in this space, but that's the space of healing. So I just feel like it will help us with that, and it will help us to connect with the ancestral knowledge, because it kind of just sips through. You'll just start to get thoughts, right, of random things and just ideas of just random thing, and it's just your ancestors speaking through you because something was unlocked. And now you're like, oh, I don't know, I really feel like I should just be drinking that. Well, go ahead and drink it. See where it takes you, you know? And right now, we don't have access to land the way that we should. And I just feel like it's a great time, one, for us to have access, two, to make sure that we take back what was taken from us, because it's 2025, and we shouldn't be doing our healing practices in hiding. We have done our healing practices in hiding, because even until today, and let's be honest, they can still call ACS on us. You know, oh, I gave my daughter herbs when she doesn't feel good or whatever. ACS can still be called on us, on you for that. I've experienced all of that.
I already know. Oh my God, I can't believe I've never met you, like, or known. You are just such, like, I'm just in awe of you. Like, you're just so special, a gift, like, literally from, you know, it gives me faith, you know. But anyway, you were saying that you ACS,
yeah, like, you can get ACS call on you for just doing simple things, as just giving your child plants instead of medicine. Like, you know, I went to school for health coaching. I did nutrition. Like, I know what I'm doing. And when the pediatrician is telling me to give my daughter steroids for her skin, and I'm like, no, because it's going to thin her skin throughout time, and that's not what I want to do. And instead, I just put oil, castor oil, and herbs on it, and then it healed. Like, she had eczema, everything was fine, but they had an issue because I did not use the cream, and it's like, they want me to speak to a psychologist for what? For what? Her skin is, I was like, do you see anything wrong? Is there anything wrong? And no, so that means it worked. But they do that to us. And after a while, you know, you feel like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to go to the doctor just as a paper formality thing, and I'm going to do my own thing. And I just want us to get to a point where we don't have to do that anymore, because it's exhausting. Because everybody else gets to be able to be free. Because white women, they go and they tell the doctor, oh, I give myself time. It's not a thing. Like, no problem. I have conversations with them all the time, and it's like, wow, you can be free with yours, but I can't be free with mine, because I know there's consequences that comes with this. I can't just say, this is what I gave her. I can't say that. So those are kind of things that I want to see us being done with it, because our health is literally our wealth. And the way that the world is going now, they are literally killing us through food. That's the best way to to weaken our system and our offspring. Like when you garden, you know that the seed is everything. Is everything. And we have forgotten that. Like we are so busy with everything else that children are not as important. We birth them, yes, we do all these things, but we've lost the understanding of the importance of the seed and how health of a seed is so important because each generation, and that starts with the mother, that starts with the parent, the mother and the father. If you're not healthy and she's not healthy, what are we producing here? If we want a better future, that's where it starts. But if the land is not good, we're not good. If the land is not good, we're not good. And we need to get into the place of, okay, if this is, because I do also soil testing, kind of see what area are good or not good. So it's like area that are not good, let's look at a plan to make.
Go ahead, speak from the beginning.
Okay. So there is this branch of herbalism. It's just part of herbalism, but they like to separate things. So where it's called gemotherapy, and gemotherapy is where you use buds and early shoots of any plant to make medicine with. So you know how you have stem cell therapy where they use like embryonic stem cell to do many things with. This way is just with the plants. You're using them in their embryonic stage when they're right there in the bud, when in the bud form, right about to open, because in that particular stage of the plant's life, it has no toxicity. Just like a baby, when a baby's it's in the tummy, it's innocent, it doesn't have any bad habits of a full human just yet. And with plants, when they're in the bud stage, they literally hold all of the medicine of the entire plant. So let's just say if you like to use the fruit, that fruit medicinal property is in the bud. If you're using the branch or the root, it's all in the bud. But as the bud becomes its thing, like say a leaf, it loses some of the things and then starts to get like harsher compounds in itself. So when it's in bud, it's great. Now, that particular type of herbalism started in Africa through the Bantu people and Egyptian. That's something that they've always done. And of course, European, they were over there, learned it from there, took that, went back to France, went back to Belgium, recreated it, still using the same concept of using the bud, and then we named it gemotherapy. So now it's known as gemotherapy, and it's been created by a Belgium guy. Mind you, Belgium was one of the country that literally decimated the Congo, killed so many people. So they've taken a lot of information and then rebranded, give it a little twist, add something a little different, and be like, oh, this is gemotherapy. Gives it a Greek and Latin name. So when you learn about it, you're like, oh, okay, this is their thing. When you listen to the name, they'll break down all of the suffix and all of these things, and it's like, no, those is from Africa. That particular type of art came from Africa. So now it's being used, and we are actually in a time where it's great because budding season is getting ready to start. Plants are getting ready to release their babies. The blood flow of the plant, like their essence, what feeds them, the waters of the trees are not getting ready to start flowing. And most people during this time, they're going to go ahead, that's when they start tapping the trees to get their sap so they can make, I think with maple, they tap it to make maple syrup, birch tree, they do all kinds of things. Me personally, I haven't found a reason or comfort in tapping trees. There's something in me that always feels like, it just doesn't sit right, because it's for me, it's like it's their blood flow, And then right now they're awakening, so it's flowing so that they can kind of go through all of the limbs of the tree. Now we come in and we tap into that, and we don't never take a little, and we're taking so much of that, and this is the time where they make the most because it's needed for all of this stuff. They're about to make new parts of themselves. It's just like when a woman is pregnant, you need all of the energy to create a whole new being. So these trees need all of the energy to create all new parts of themselves. So I'm still like on the outs when it comes to that, but with the buds, that early flow of fluid that comes in, it feeds into the buds, it feeds into that. So I'm fine with working with the buds of the early plants of the tree and make medicine with. And that particular medicine is very gentle, very detoxifying. It really gets to our cells and help to renew them and help to cleanse them out, but on a gentle way where babies and our elderly can have it with no problem. Usually most plants, most herbs, like you have to be very cautious because of the amount of toxin in them. But when you're using the buds, you don't really have that, and they do something different than when they become a leaf or full flower. It's not the same medicine at all. And it's really fascinating, but this is something that is literally ours. But again, it's those things that we've lost along the way, and I like to be in the space of reclaiming those things, because for me, the herbal space bothers me a lot, because I hear about everybody else's things all the time. Even when we talked about indigenous medicine in here, we're really more speaking about the native of this land, the Native American, people from South America, right? When they really talking about like indigenous, that's what they're really pushing for. And even them, they don't really get a lot of light on anything with the work that they've done and all that they have given. But everything else is Western herbalism, Ayurvedic herbalism, and traditional Chinese medicine. Those are the top three. That you go into any herbal thing, those are the top three, and I'm always like, so what happened to African herbalism, African healing system, period? And they make it seem like, oh, well, your people didn't really have a system, or your people didn't write anything down, so we don't really know. And I'm like, that's BS. That's BS. Your foundation is African herbalism. Literally, your foundation is that. And they don't want to give it its thing. If they say Africa is the cradle of humanity, and people have been living there for so long, and until this day, even our medical system still goes to Africa to gain certain insight on healing and on health, but then it never gets its own standing recognition, not mixing with anything else, just its own standing, just like Western herbalism, just like traditional Chinese or Ayurveda. It has none of it. It's as if like we don't know how to heal. We know nothing. We never have a system, and we have a system. Our system is just different. Our system, what I'm seeing now is that include energy and spirit. It's not its own standing. Our system is when you see a tree, it's not just a tree. That tree is a living thing. It has a spirit. Like there's all of these things that you have to work along. And I don't think that, they don't understand that at all. Because when they work with things, they'll just see this plant as it's just an object, and they can just manipulate it however many ways. But in African herbalism, you can't just manipulate anything that is living in your own will. There has to be respect. There has to be understanding of that spiritual being that is also right in front of you, and you have to communicate. There has to be some kind of connection that you make with it, and reciprocity. It's going to give you, but you have to give it as well. And you are required to tap within yourself to bring that forth. So it's not just someone that's just giving you all of the answers, all of the things. You have to tap into the many different parts of your being and get them activated to work in the space. Like in their space, everything has to be set for you already. You know, the measurement and all of these things, which is good, right? In our space, no, it's a hand-eye coordination. You know, there are measurement. People think that there's no measurement. There are measurement, but the measurement is you using your eye and your hand-eye coordination together to know, okay, this is the amount I've put. And it's a mental thing too. It activate your mind. You calculate that, you see the amount that you have in your hand, you see the amount, and now you have to repeat that same amount each time. So that calls you to be even more present, because is it the same as last time? If it's not, then get it that way. Like, it's more than just like, oh, let me use a spoon. Then it's a tool that's doing the work for you. But if you remove the spoon and you have no utensil and stuff with you, what happened? You can't heal? You can't, like, you know, now you feel like, well, I don't know. I don't have the book. I don't have this. I don't have that. The other way, it calls you to do it whole as one, with you being everything. Your hands are your tools. Your mind is your calculator. Your eyes is all of these things. And you have to tap into that. That's why it's different than the other one. You really have to be present. If you're not present, and even if you're not even listening to what's coming through you, your intuition, something might come in and say, hey, we need to add a little bit more, or something else. You have to be in tune with yourself, in tune with the land that you're working with, in tune with the energy that you're in. And if you're helping someone heal, you also have to be in tune with them as well. So there's so many different parts that you're playing and you're tapping into, that in the world of modern day herbalism, they act as if all of that is nothing. That's unnecessary. You don't need it. Yeah, you do. You absolutely do. It's crucial for you to have it, but it's missing in that whole entire thing. So that's why I don't really enjoy like taking certain courses or whatever, because I always feel like, yeah, you're missing a big part. I've sat in many different just to see, okay, what are they tapping into? What are they teaching? And everything there, they'll teach you the science of the plant. They'll teach you the breakdown. You will get accurate information on this, that, and the third. But what you're missing is the connection. What you're missing is your own DNA information that flows through you, that have the answer that you're actually looking for. And now you think all the answers in the book. Not every answer is in the book. Some plants, when a plant is brand new and having not even been put into a book, and you're the first person to come across it, or whatever the case may be, if you are trained and do it in the African traditional way, then you'll know exactly how to go about with that brand new plant. But the other way, you'll be stuck. You'll feel like, well, there's no information on it, so I'm not going to touch it because I don't know what this plant does. I don't know nothing about this plant, so I'm just going to leave it. And it's like, wait a minute, no, that's not, you have everything. You can know what this plant is without looking at a book. And that's what it calls to, like being able to know something without looking at a book, and really trust and tap into all of your stuff. Even with cooking, it translates into cooking as well. Like sometimes you don't have all the stuff that you normally cook with, but if you know how to cook, no matter what stuff is come into, you should be able to put something together that somebody can eat. You know, you taste, you smell, you tap into different things and stuff like that. You become creative. With healing, it requires all of that stuff. Some things that pop up into your system you never heard of before. And you can even go to the doctor, and the doctor will be like, well, I don't know. What are you going to do? You're just going to not going to do nothing? No. You do know. You just now have to just listen to what's coming up, and you'll see, like, okay, let me do this. Something is telling me I need to move. then move. Or something is telling me I'm thirsty, I need to drink more water. Drink the water. Like, nothing is being said in a book for you, but your body speaks to you. The spirits around us speaks to us. The answer and the information that your ancestor left in you, in your DNA, that generational knowledge that is not just all about trauma. It's speaking to you. If you can hear the trauma, you can hear the blessings too. You can hear the blessings too. What are the blessings saying? What are the other things saying that you may be having a hard time doing right now, but you do hear it? You know, sometimes we hear some things, and it's like, I don't know, I'm fearful about it. I don't know if it's something I should do. But just acknowledge that you heard it and that you're having a hard time with it. Because then it's like, it's an acknowledgement. Now there's communication, there is something. But if you're receiving information and you're purposely just ignoring it, and you're only picking to hear the trauma, then the trauma is going to speak to you louder. You know, and then all you're gonna see is trauma. When you see a friend, you can recognize the trauma. You won't be able to see the blessing and all of the things that's in them. You'll just see trauma. So it really trains your body, your mind, your spirit, all of that into one. And you are choice. You know, and everybody has something different that they're like very special with. And I believe like with us, we are like that as, you know, as Black people. We have so many different things that are locked in, and if we were to just be ourselves in the sense of going with what it's within us and living more into that, parts of ourselves will pop up and then be like, oh, I didn't even know I could do this. Like, something you say, hey, try it, I tried it, and then now this is what my life is. My life is like, it's literally like that, and I find those two things to be different, because regular herbalism doesn't touch on it and don't want to give us any credit because they don't understand it and they don't operate that way. They don't do anything spirit. Now they just start talking about frequency and energy. You see how late they are with things too? Now they just start, you'll hear about, oh, you know, listen to the sound, it has this frequency. Like, that science is late versus our knowledge has never been late. It has always been on time. The science part of it is late. If they want to be late, let them be late. But we get to trust, be in trust, and consistently developing ourselves. And we can do it with nature easily. You know, easily. So that's
No, this is wonderful. I just wanted to get you
like gear, because you know how warriors always have like their own garments or like shields or like different things that they wear. In our culture, it's flowers. So they'll wear these big flower like headpieces. And they'll paint themselves blue with indigo. So that is coming to mind. And Venus is like my ancestral deity. So I work with Venus a lot. Also as a warrior and love and strategy and all those things.
Could you tell me your ancestry, like on both sides?
Yeah, okay. So on my mom's side, my grandmother is Irish, German descent, white. And then my grandfather, my mom's dad, is mixed. His dad is from Jamaica, and his mom is indigenous to Mexico. And his dad, who's Jamaican, was in the military and ended up finding home in Sicily. So if you ask my grandfather, he'll tell you he's Sicilian. So I grew up, with Sicilian pride, even though that's not necessarily where our blood is from. And then on my father's side, my family is indigenous to the region that is now referred to as El Salvador, also known as Cuscatlan. There's multiple lineages there, because you know how indigenous tribes sometimes now get bundled into one, where it's everybody from this region is Mayan or everybody from this region is Aztec, but there's also so many little intricate tribes. I know that my grandmother's dad is Pipil, so that is definitely a culture that I look to for guidance. And my grandmother is also from this region that's called San Juan Nanualco. And the indigenous people of that land are the ones who paint themselves blue and wear the flower headdresses. Yeah. So on my dad's side, my great grandmother, his grandmother, who I saw in the elderberry tree, I know that she's kind of from this border region where we are Salvadorian, but it's right on the border of Honduras. So I think that I this is not confirmed, but I think that there was a tribe that actually encompassed that land before that borderline was drawn. And I think that the community was split between Honduras and El Salvador.
Okay, could you just, I'm sorry, but could you repeat that same story?
Yeah,
Sadie,
about the trees?
Yeah, just about the city and how it was passed. A lot of people passed away because of COVID and...
Yeah, so a lot of people passed from COVID. And so these different nonprofit organizations opened, and one of them was advertising a youth climate corps, which essentially was recruiting people ages 18 to 27, 29 to work internships where they were supposed to be learning about climate change, but really it was just incentive to get a bunch of labor where people they're 1099 contract workers, so they don't have any job security, they don't have any benefits. And actually, at the end of my time there, they decided that they were somebody in the city found out that for the last 10 to 15 years, they've been hiring park workers at this park through just hiring young people and rotating them out. So they kind of got in trouble a bit and the program ended. So they just told people, even people who had still 300, 400 hours left of their internship, oh, next week on Friday is your last day. So it was just really devastating to see the ways that the city is using quote unquote sustainability, but really it's not. It's just all fake, and it's all really, what if us planting this tree here is actually not helpful? What if it's actually harmful? And that's why we have to converse and talk and sit with the land. And so what I was saying about the trees is that the city has these quotas, let's say, this year we're supposed to plant 1,000 trees. Everyone is going to work really hard. We're going to plant 1,000 trees this year. And really, the number of trees that they want to plant is half of the trees that are actually dying, that they have to go in and tear it down and turn it into mulch. So learning about trees and the ways that they have this aura or this microbiome around them, these microorganisms, this life around them that really affects us and our air and our breathing. And I walk around my town in my neighborhood, and so many of our trees are sick. So I'm just thinking about what we're breathing in when we're breathing in that sick aura or that sick microbiome. So anyway, it was a very complex time. It was really, that job ended up being really difficult and also really beautiful in so many ways, because I learned so much about native plants at the same time that I was learning about the ways that the city was just so harmful. And I have so much more to tell you about the Native Plant Reserve, but we'll visit it when you come. So now I'm working at...
Wait 1 second.
Yeah.
Could you just repeat what you were saying also about the population of not really hiring, indigenous population or people,
right,
stewardship of the land?
Yes.
If you could just repeat what you had said, if
Okay.
you could remember.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So this piece of land that I worked on, it's Willow Springs Native Plant Reserve. It's under the Parks and Recs of Long Beach. And so at the time that I started working there were only 2 official city employees that worked at that park. One of them was my supervisor, and the other one was this man who's worked for the city for, imagine, 10, 20 years. Who, it was his single project. For some reason, at some point, he was able to take this area that, he was able to take this area and create his passion project, which was like a native plant reserve. But there are no indigenous people. There are no indigenous people that they consult or that they talk to or that they work with. There's no consideration of the land, and especially when we're planting native plants. It's just kind of like they've taken this land, they just dumped all of this soil from all of these different places. So some parts of the park you'll find sandy soil, some parts of the park you'll find dirt that they just took from all these different places, planted a bunch of plants, and just trying to kind of like make it work. But I think when I was a kid, I was always taught, like, plant a tree, it helps the air. But this job really helped me to realize, like, no, just because you're planting a tree doesn't mean that you're doing a good thing. Sometimes the land is like, no, like, I can't. Sometimes the soil's like, I can't take that right now. Sometimes there's not enough space. Sometimes if you plant this tree here, it's going to be sick and it's actually going to do more harm. There's just one person, essentially, who gets to make all of the decisions about this place, this native plant reserve. And they're also in the midst of trying to get more money and more funding, which they hope to use for quote-unquote security, which is really just that these people don't like that there's houseless people who go and, stay in this park because it's a beautiful oasis. There's all of these trees. There's a lot of places for somebody to be able to set up tent for the night and sleep there and then wake up in the morning and leave. And rather than work with the community, they're slowly implementing all these different things so that houseless people don't go there. So I have so much to tell you.
No, that was great. No, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of the things that kind of just makes me so angry, because I see it all over the country. And or even using kind of different cultural rituals and things that don't belong. So just go ahead and repeat what you're saying about the rosemary. This is Sadie's.
Yeah, this is Sadie's, Yana's. We're here at Compton Garden in Long Beach. I was sharing that rosemary is the plant that started my business. I was living somewhere and there was a really beautiful rosemary plant in the background, so I started making salves with it, and my business was called, I named my business Sun Salve. And it was just a really special plant for me. I feel like it helped me embrace that moment of wanting to make medicine and wanting to give it to my community. And a couple of years later, I ended up going home for the first time to El Salvador with my grandma, and I saw a lot of paintings of this really important, like, friar, pastor, preacher, I don't know exactly what it is in the Catholic Church, but Father Francisco, and he's painted with rosemary, and the rosemary represents liberation, and it's with him because he wrote a letter to the United States president at the time to ask him to stop providing aid during the Civil War, because, you know, the U.S. was such a huge part of the genocide of the indigenous people that happened during the Civil War. And 3 days later, at Sunday service, they assassinated him. So he's really important to the community there where my grandma's from.
Oh, wow. Thank you for saying that.